Days away from 2024, and that means new laws are going to be taking effect from coast to coast. So let's break down some of the biggest changes on the books across the country with attorney and constitutional expert Ken Belkin. Ken, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So these laws range from cool, interesting to strange, but there's something that everybody in these states should know. So let's start with California. If you're driving in California, you are not alone because there's going to be a whole lot of speed cameras that are going to be popping up in cities.
Yes, indeed.
Tell us about this.
It is a brave new world. There are going to be speed cameras. We are not going to need an officer to catch you with his radar gun out on the highway. It's going to be all artificial intelligence and cameras. I don't think it's a great thing because the one thing you don't get from these cameras is context. You don't get an officer's discretion. Maybe in a situation, hey, there's a guy swerving. I've got my 3 kids. He looks like he's drunk. I should get away from him and maybe speed up. The camera's not going to be looking at that. They're going to be looking at the raw data.
That's such a good point. You get a ticket if you go 10 miles over the speed limit, right?
11. They're giving you a 10-mile grace period.
Okay, 11. Yes. All right, the other one that's making major news today, it's Peak, California. They've decided that every store with 500 employees or more needs to have a gender-neutral toy section.
Listen, what are you going to do? California is going to California, right? By the way, I thought toys were already gender neutral because if I'm not mistaken, I took my 2 daughters and son to FAO Schwartz right down the block. Great toy store. They don't pay me. And let me tell you something. It's already gender neutral. They don't have boys' toys and girls' toys.
Yes. And telling the store what signs they need to have.
It's that. They're also drawing, they're drawing a gender-based classification. I don't really know what gender neutral means. You're either born with boys' parts or girls' parts.
Yeah.
So they're drawing a distinction. And when you draw a gender-based classification, our Supreme Court has said it has to withstand a test called intermediate scrutiny. There has to be, number one, an important governmental interest, and the means by which they're furthering have to be substantially related to that.
Yeah.
What is the government interest in sectioning toys?
That's such a good point. It's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Let's move on to Florida. Financial disclosure requirements for elected officials. Tell us about this.
I'm a big fan of this. I think Florida is taking a step in the right direction. When you look at some of the allegations against the Biden administration, the indictment of Senator Bob.
New Jersey, they are increasing the minimum wage. Some employees in Delaware, their minimum wage is going up to $13.25. In New Jersey, it's increasing $1 to $15.13.
Look, federal minimum wage is $7.25. So these states, I get what they're trying to do. On my way to becoming a lawyer, I worked a lot of minimum wage jobs. And, you know, the reality is I'm not going to say it's bad to give these people a raise, but there's an old saying, better to be employed at $13 an hour than be unemployed at $15 an hour.
Yeah, there's only so much money. So if people make more, then there will be fewer jobs. Quickly, in Virginia, they just legalized recreational marijuana. It wasn't the current governor that signed this. It was the former one, the Democrat.
Yeah, signed in 2021, but they need to ratify a few additional regulatory methods, so there's no licensing mechanism, and it's going to be like the Wild West.
Yeah. Interesting laws affecting states across the country. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, coming up, Florida law.